Before I start this video, I'd like to thank RGB Senshi for giving me the idea. He did a video like this way before I did, so make sure to give his a watch and a follow. Especially if you got a tool build, because my video is not going to help you too much. Also, go subscribe to Cammy Swift. I've been putting his link in the end of some of my videos. I don't think people have caught onto it. He's helped me with a lot of clips in the past, so hello and welcome back to another Hanode video. Today, we're going to be looking at my personal build in MO. I'll be showing you how I balance my stats, the moves I use and how I configure them, as well as how I use each move. If this video gets a lot of support, I will try ask other people to review their builds. Hopefully I'll be able to build a good database of different builds for each and every person. As you may have seen from my last video, the ranked one, my build is centered around speed. My durability is kinda low, purely due to laziness. Because of this, I've tried to focus my build on getting hit as little as possible, as well as being able to hit fast and exit as soon as you can. I focused on running speed the most, as being small, I need to be able to close gaps very quick. This is also the main reason I went high lower body, for increased dashes. Because of my style and moves, the most important part of my build are the dashes. They allow me to get in extremely quick from extremely far, as well as exit any sort of combo. Because my character is literally min height, I knew that most of my fighting would be done from point blank. Because of this, I decided to get a decently high upper body muscle. I got enough upper and lower to allow me to have poise. Poise reduces the amount of stun I take when I get hit. This, on top of my insane dash, is what I use to get out of combos. Because I have such high muscle, I do quite a lot of damage with little to no strike power. Well, I say little to no, but I mean, for today's meta, I have barely any. This works out perfectly because, as I have a lot of muscle, obviously I need a lot of striking speed. Boxing is a style that relies on striking speed a lot. If you can't hit fast, boxing won't work. This is because it doesn't have that much stun lock, and people can walk out of the combos very easily, especially muscly people. Because I'm able to keep my striking power so low, I'm able to compensate with striking speed. I plan to get my striking speed to around 500, but right now I need to work on stam first. Even with 340 striking speed, my M1s are still very slow. Once I finish training my stam, I plan on cutting down on upper body. Hopefully that will increase my striking speed. In terms of stats, that should be all the info. Now I will talk about the 5 moves I have and what I use them for. I used to consider my build quite unmeta, but as time's gone on, I see people using the moves I have even more. I'm not saying it's because of me, just that the meta has grown. The first skill I have on my toolbar is Sidekick. I use Sidekick with the pure intention of extending into jab rush combo. Sidekick is the best combo extender for short people, well, in my opinion at least. This is because the move makes you step forwards, increasing the range with an already long range move. It also has a massive wide hitbox and very long hit stun. Because of this long range and large hitbox, I'm able to put the range stat quite low on it and still hit from afar. This allows me to keep it at high speed which it needs, as well as keep it on low cooldown so I can use it often. I don't really use it for damage, and I see people using it for approach quite often, but for me it's not that reliable. The next move in my moveset is the obvious one, jab rush. As I said in my boxing video, all boxers should have jab rush, no matter tall or short. I mean, at this point everyone might as well have it. The main job of jab rush in my moveset is to give M1 enough time to reset. This mechanic that only jab rush is capable of doing right now is what I use to extend my combo. In doing this, I can get an extra 2 to 3 hits before throwing out my finishing move. The move is almost imperative for optimizing damage. Sounds fancy, huh? To stop jab rush being interrupted, I put max speed and a bit of power. The speed obviously gives people less time to throw out a weave during the jabs, whereas the more damage means longer stun time. I keep the range low as it's a close range build, but I don't keep it at the very bottom. This is because I found people would be able to walk backwards out of the combo very easily. Through playing the game, I picked up a habit of going around people whilst using my jab rush to stop this, but it's not really needed with this much range. I also keep the cooldown very high, as I normally throw out 3 instead of 5 jab rushes, meaning I have 2 more if needed. The third move, and one of my 2 safe options, is weave. Most people like to spam weave whilst being hit in a combo. However, in my build, I feel like it's better to use weave as a get out of jail card rather than a free hits. Sometimes if people are playing aggressive, putting a lot of pressure on, I'll throw out weave at the start of their combo to try slow down their momentum. Otherwise, I'll normally wait to weave after whiffing maybe a M1 or an M2. As I said in my last video, or not the rank one, the one before that, weave cancels M2 animation, so I use that as for a lot of baits, and obviously to make my M2 safe. As well as being able to weave mid combo is good for a mental block on opponents, as well as escaping damage, I don't think it's that good in the long run. A lot of builds after using weave are susceptible to a lot of pressure. Therefore, in my opinion, it's best to keep it up as long as possible. For my weave, I have the dodge window on max. I need as much time to dodge as possible. Recovery time I have mid. For some reason when you put upgrade tokens into recovery time, it goes up, which I only just learned, so hopefully it will go down, I'm not really sure. And I tried to keep the cooldown relatively low because my other safe move has a very high cooldown, and I don't want to be in disadvantage for too long. Speaking of second safe move, my fourth to last move is bear hug. I have 2 main roles for bear hug. The first is an obvious combo ender, if my jolt hook is down. But the more important and more effective use of it is for stam KOs. When people rush me and start applying a lot of pressure, I like to let them throw out a lot of moves, hopefully a weave, to lower their stamina. If I feel like they feel like they're in control of the fight, I'll normally open myself up, allowing them to attack. Soon as they dash in and go for an M1, I'll use bear hug to cancel it with the super armor. Doing this can sometimes completely change the tide of a fight, giving you so much advantage and free time to do what you need whilst they regen stam. Sometimes it can even just end the fight there. I guess you could also say interrupting combos, but I'd kind of keep that in stam KO sort of category. Unfortunately, I couldn't lower the cooldown without affecting those 2, so I had to keep it at the middle. My bear hug edit is pretty self-explanatory. I just want it to do a lot of damage and come out fast enough for it to not be interrupted. The last move in my set is jolt hook. I use jolt hook as an obvious block break, as well as to finish combos. As I said earlier, I prefer to use M2 as a block break because it's safe. That leaves jolt hook to be used as a combo finisher most of the time. It's easily my most damaging move, and hitting one of them can give me so much momentum in a fight. For jolt hook, I prioritize damage and speed over anything. As I said before, I want this to be my hardest hitting move, as well as I need it to come out fast enough to hit. I upped the range a bit because it's got quite short range and my character's arms are tiny, so I do need that extra boost. And lastly, I had to put the cooldown on max to get the stats to where I want them. Much as I don't want it to take that long, I don't really have a choice. Now, for the most important tech, and what I like to call the Shadow 6th move of this build. I prioritize counter over everything in disadvantage. My dash speed goes far enough for me to catch up to the counter before their end lag finishes. This means hitting a good counter that I'm ready for will give me a free combo. From how I've seen people react to it, it seems unreactable, but I can't be too sure. When in disadvantage, I will always hold block and go for a counter, even if they go for an M2. Having the space to run and move about, as well as having the distance to utilize the dash, is very important, and counter is the single best tool for allowing that to happen. On the approach, I will always try to dash behind my opponent. Obviously they can't block their back, so if I can get behind them, it's a free combo. My build has 1 combo, both with 2 finishes. One is a string of extends with jolt hook at the end, and the other with bear hug at the end. The build excels at fighting big fighters, such as sumo wrestlers, maybe not wrestlers, they got a bit too much super armor. It's also good against squishy people and people that like to abuse range. The spacing on people that like to abuse range is a bit iffy, and as soon as you dash in, they don't know what to do. A technique I use when trying to get in for a combo is the run bait. I run at the person, then stop on the spot right where my dash range is. If they dash left or right, I can dash into them. If they stay still, I can go back. It's very useful against people with a lot of range. Well, that's about it for my build. If you got this far and enjoyed, please leave a like, maybe comment, talk about which kind of build you want me to do next. Hopefully I'll get a lot of requests, so the choices will be endless. Anyways, thanks for watching, and peace.